Jobs and tallies are really the building blocks of the system. Most everything in the system, if you're seeing some information or a report or in the Pipe Explorer, anywhere, it's pulling the information from the job. So what a job is the container for inventory. It's what holds your actual pipe or tubing or whatever the case might be. To illustrate this point, we're going to go create a job. Now there's a couple of different ways to create a job, but if this is the first time you're using the system or setting up your inventory, then what we recommend is receiving the inventory in to your yard from a master part. And we covered creating master parts in the last webinar, so we can certainly link you to that one. So our company is Archon Data, so we're going to ship some pipe into our yard. We use the Oklahoma yard in our system. And as you can see in the shipping and receiving screens, whenever you type in a yard, it'll auto-populate the information, so the email and all the contact information for that yard. And it'll be the same if you've created the companies and set up the locations in your system. Okay, so we're going to add an item. So like I said, if this is the first time you're using the system, you're going to be adding inventory from a master part since you don't already have your inventory in the system. Once you have your parts set up, you can filter down to the particular type of inventory you want to bring in. In this case, I'm going to bring in some 2 3/8 EUE J55. So I'm going to select that. And here's where you're going to enter the amount that you want to bring in. For example, let's say I have 3,100 feet and 10 joints. The system will automatically populate the average. Oh, it's 100. Yeah, there we go. That would be really long pipe if we left it at that. So, okay, so the system will auto-populate the average. That's called bulk. We'll get into that here in a little bit. And I'm going to select a rack for this to go to. In this case, it's going to be rack A2 on in the Oklahoma pipe yard. All right, so once you click OK, it'll show up here on our inbound truck. And you can see it's created a job number. So this is what I'm talking about. Every time you create a job, it's to hold this inventory. So this particular batch of 100 joints, 3,100 feet of pipe, is on job 8281. That's all we're going to receive in this for now. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit complete, and it'll show up on my rack. To locate a job once you receive it, probably the easiest way is to use the search for pipe button. This is going to bring up the Pipe Explorer. And for the majority of you guys, this is going to be where a lot of your work takes place. It'll probably start something like this, and in this box you can search for job numbers, control numbers, different types of pipe. But if you click on the Advanced button, it's going to bring up a whole bunch of filters that you can use to really narrow down your search. Because if you click Search just with no filters, it's going to search for every job in your system, and that's going to be huge. It's going to be really hard to find things. So you can see all these jobs and information. But if you're working with a particular job or a particular type of pipe, it's really useful to use these filters to narrow it down. So I know I'm looking for job 8281, which is the one I just received, and here we go. It cuts out all that other data and just gives me what I want. So in the system, you can open anything really by double-clicking on it, and that holds true for most of the screens on the system. So now I double-clicked on job 8281, and now we have the job screen. This holds all the information for this job. Everything from the specifications to the shipping information, the bulk totals, the tally totals, everything. So on this general tab, I'll just run you through all the information that can be stored here. You have the status, which is received, since we just received that. If you have a work order number, you can put that here. You have the location of this job. In this case, it's in the Oklahoma yard on rack A2. You also have a description, which we could change to whatever we need to include there. And some comments. Some people like to put in some information, some numbers here to track by that. You can see the company and receiver, PO numbers or AFE numbers, things like the unit of measure. In this case, I'm going to change that to joints. And if you if you're tracking things by well, then this is where you'll assign the well to this particular batch of pipe in this job. Once you open up the job, you can assign the well. I'm not going to do that for this one. And the control number. So this is one of the more powerful attributes in the system for a job. The control number allows you to tie multiple jobs together. A job can only hold one type of inventory. In this case, this can only hold 2 3/8 J55 EUE because that's what I assigned it to be. You can't mix different inventory items into a job. So in order to tie different jobs together, you can use the control number. That's just one example. So I can make this control number whatever I want to be. Let's do 2225, and we're going to go ahead and save that. And I'll show you how to use this control number when we tie it to another job here in a second. Does anybody have any questions so far? I know I've been talking for a little bit. Yeah, okay, so the company owner and receiver, they don't all have to be the same. In this case, it was the same because I was receiving new inventory that belonged to Archon Data, our company, into our yard. So it never changed hands, and it really never changed location. So if we see over here in the shipping tab, we can see it's shipping from Oklahoma, shipping to Oklahoma, and in the general tab you can see the company and receiver are the same. If, for example, you were shipping or selling some pipe, then the owner would change to whoever you were selling the pipe to. In this case, let's say Big Petroleum. And in the shipping tab, you would provide the appropriate destination of where you were shipping it off to. If it belongs to your customer, you're selling it to your customer, then yes, you would populate that in there. But in this case, it's just our pipe for now. So as you can see, we have different tabs here. The specifications is what it pulls off from your master parts. So whenever you set up your master parts, you really want to enter in as much information as possible. This is going to make it very accurate. You can enter in anything from coupled weights to coatings and any other special qualifications that you might want to track by. But this is all getting pulled from your master parts list. So it's very important that you set up your master parts correctly the first time. So you're not having to go into every job and changing the grade or anything. If you set up your master parts and take the time to do it properly, then all of this will be filled out for you, and you won't have to do it job by job. In the shipping tab, you can see anything from the destination to the carrier and truck numbers. The job gets this from the receiving or shipping window. So whenever I brought in that truck, that inbound truck, and entered in that it was going to Oklahoma Yard from Oklahoma Yard, this is where it's getting all that information. Again, it's very important to make sure you're shipping to and from the correct location, obviously. Now, our system allows you to attach documents in the Attachments tab to this job. You can attach anything from pictures of the inventory, or bills of lading, or Excel spreadsheets of a tally, whatever you'd like to attach. And there's a couple ways to do this. The more traditional way is to just click on the yellow folder that says Attach, and then pick a file that you want to attach. But let's say I wanted to attach an Excel worksheet. I can just find it and click Open. And there it is. It's attached to the job now. Alternatively, I'm going to do some scary stuff. I'm going to make this a little bit small. Alternatively, you can actually just find it on your desktop or wherever you have it saved, and drag it into the box up here, and it will attach it automatically. You hit refresh, and there it is. You can see that I just dragged it in here, clicked refresh, and it's automatically attached to there. You can also do this for emails. If let's say you're using Outlook, I'll show you how to do this right quick. There we go. All right, let's say I have an email. Just remember, what you have to do with Outlook is drag it to your desktop first from your Outlook, and then do the same thing. Just drag it to the job itself and hit the refresh button. And there you can see my email is uploaded there. That's really important for and really convenient for like releases and approvals of orders and stuff like that. So basically, if you have it on your desktop, you can just drag it in to attach it, or you can find it on your in your file somewhere. All right. So we're not going to cover these two other things because that's more of advanced functionality. So let's go back to the General tab. All right. So let's talk about the status of a job. The status of a job essentially tells the system what is happening to the pipe at a particular point in time. In this case, it's received. So it's been put into my yard, and now it's sitting on a rack. If we want to change the status of a job, we can go to the checkpoint button at the top of the screen. There we go. And here we can see all the different statuses that we have programmed into the system. Now these can be customized and set up to your company, whatever you guys need to do. And if you guys need to do EMI inspections or threading or something like that, that's all done in the setup part, and we can customize that. So for this one, let's say I want to put it in storage. You can just click on that. Now the system acknowledges that it's in storage. We can see that on the Pipe Explorer as well. If we go back and search for the same job again, we can now see that the status is storage. And you can customize these to either show on the inventory or don't show. For example, if we go to checkpoints on order, if you have something on order, it's not going to show up in your inventory, right? Because you don't have it yet. It hasn't arrived yet. So they have different behaviors like that. Shipped is not going to show in your inventory, and all these other ones are pretty much going to show up on your inventory. And that's important with your reports, and we'll get into that here in a little bit. All right. So now that we have the basic idea of what a job is, we want to talk about tallies. The difference between bulk and tallies is tallies are measured joints. The length is measured on those, while the bulks are averaged. So right here we have 100 joints with an estimated total of 3,100 feet, giving us an average of 31 feet per joint. Now a tally is going to be more specific. You could have joints of 31 feet, 32 feet, 31 and a half. Like you guys know, it varies from joint to joint. And this is going to this allows you to keep track of it much more accurately than an averaged number is going to. There's two main ways to tally something. You can enter it in manually, or you can import it. So if you want to enter it in manually, let's say you have a inspection sheet on your desk, you can go over here to the Enter Joints button. This is going to open up the tally screen for this job. Up here on the top of the screen, you can see that we're working with job 8281 and the part number as well as the status. So from here, you can basically enter in your measurements using your number pad. So let's say this one's 31.1, 32, 31.5. So yeah, you just enter in the number and hit enter, and it'll go to the next line. So let's enter in about 5 of them. And then once you have all your joints entered in, all your measurements, you can click on the Save button at the top of the screen. Now, this is a very important window that pops up. This is going to ask you if you want to reduce the bulk by the joints that you entered. So if we click yes, which is what most of you are going to want to do, it's going to take those joints off of the average pipe and put them in the tally and reduce the total footage and the average length per joint off of the bulk. So let me click yes, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. So let's go back to the job header. All right, so now we're back at the job screen. Now you can see we have that joint count of 5 joints that we entered here under the tally totals. You see that it's recalculated the joint average for these 5 joints to be 31.62 feet and a tally total of 158.1 feet. If you go up to the totals, the bulk totals, you can see it's reduced the footage, the joint count, and recalculated the average. So instead of having the 31-foot average, now we have a slightly lower 30.97 average. And again, this allows you to keep track of it, very, very accurately. It'll even populate load weight and tonnage based on your master parts. So that's why it's important to keep your master parts set up properly and accurately, so you can calculate the weights and properties correctly. All right, so that's how you enter the tallies in manually. The other way you can enter in a tally is to import them. Oil Country OS works with all known tally devices, and we can import from all of them. It makes it much easier to get your tallies entered. To do so, all you have to do is click on the Import button at the top of the job tally screen. And then we select the Microsoft file. And you can do by serial if you guys have tallies with serials on them. In this case, we only have the links on this sheet, so we'll just choose that. Okay, so you just open it. It'll show you your tallies here on this screen, and it shows you the joint count and the total footage. So it does essentially what we did in the enter joint screen manually, but it does that all automatically. Here you can even see the part number and the tally number. So here you can review it. You can even edit it should something be incorrect or you need to make some changes, and it'll automatically recalculate everything for you. So once you're done double checking through everything, you can click Finish. And again, this is the important part. For the most part, you're going to want to reduce the bulk from the original tally. This is going to take it out of the averaged joints and put it into the properly tally joints. So click Yes. Those 12 joints that we imported have been added to the 5 that we already had, and it's taken it out of bulk and put it into tally. All right, another important feature of the job and tally screen is the print button here. You can do all sorts of things and print all sorts of forms from this button, whether it be a bill of lading, a load slip, or even the tally. For example, that tally, the 17 joints that we have now, let's click on that. So we click on Print Tally. It's going to load this form. And here we go. It's going to, let me make this big. It's going to give you exactly what we have. We have 17 joints, all their measurements here. You can also have the serial numbers if you so chose. It has the part number information, all the specifications of that pipe, the description, the shipping information here from when we brought it in. Again, it's very important that you enter in the correct shipping information because, as you can see, it's tied to a lot of things. The job information, the location of all of this pipe, and the control number. So yeah, that's a really great way to keep track of your tallies. Let me see, what else can we do with the print button? Here's the print with serial. If you keep track of tallies with serial number, you can do that. You can also print the bulk. This is going to average it out. So the bulk is always averaged. Our system allows you to export things to Excel spreadsheets. If you click on Save Joints to Excel, let's pick a location right here. Yeah, just on the desktop. We can save that. And here you go. Here we have the 17 joints that we have tallied up so far and their lengths. Again, if you want to keep track of the serial number, it will show that here as well. So that's an easy way to get all your tallies back into Excel should you need to. Now let's look at the Pipe Explorer. We're going to look at the same job in the Pipe Explorer. If you don't recall, to get to the Pipe Explorer, you simply click on the Search for Pipe button on the home screen. So let's find that job again. It was job 8281. So here we see our job. We just found it. Now, it's 2 3/8 J55. So if, let's say I forget the job number, I don't know which particular job I'm looking for. I can search by pipe size, the 2 3/8, and by the grade. Let's see. That's going to bring up all the 2 3/8 and J55 in the system. All right, so that's still pretty broad. So we have this on a status of storage, so we can narrow it down even further. We still have quite a few results. In this case, we can easily see it from here, but If you know where it's at or where it's supposed to be at, in this case we have it in the Oklahoma yard, that's where I shipped it to. We can just enter that in as well, and there you go. You can even get as specific as racks in that particular yard. So these filters make it very, very easy to really filter out all the information you don't want and just kind of drill down on the particular jobs that you're looking for. Let's clear this and just search for everything in the Oklahoma yard. All right, so here is 8281. That's the job we were working with just a second ago. And we have a control number on this job of 2225. Now, I can open any one of these other jobs. Let's do 8280 and assign to it the same control number. All right, and I can just save. And you can do this, you can assign the same control number to as many jobs or as little jobs as you like. This makes it really easy to tie them in together. In case you're doing shipments on multiple trucks, you can tie them in that way. So I can just search for 2225 under the control number, and it's going to bring up those two jobs. Here in the results window, you can customize what fields show. So we're showing control number, so I'm just going to find that. I'm going to drag it. You can drag and drop these any of these columns in whatever order you'd like. So if you need to see some particular field more than another, you can either remove it or just put it however you like. So now I can see the control number. All right, and we have two jobs, one in storage and one in received. So what else can you do here from the Pipe Explorer? Well, you can see all these buttons right here, and pretty much most of the basic functions that we covered in the job and tally screen, you can actually do directly from the Pipe Explorer. For example, I can checkpoint a job from the Pipe Explorer. So I can just select 8281. That's a pre-existing job, or 8280. Here we go. Let's do this one. I can click on the checkpoint button with it selected and change its status. So let's change it to storage. You can see it changed the status of 8280 back to storage. You can also do this for multiple jobs at a time. Over here, you have a little checkbox under the selected tab, and you can select multiple jobs, and you can batch checkpoint different jobs. This just kind of saves you some time if you're doing multiple things at once or dealing with the same thing in multiple instances. So let's checkpoint these to inspection. You can see now it changed both of them. That makes it really easy to do a lot of work with little effort. Another important feature that you can do here that we haven't talked about is the transfer. Transferring pipe is a really powerful tool. You can do it by selecting a job and clicking on the transfer button. This is going to bring up all the different options you have on how to transfer something. Easy transfer and advanced to-job transfer are going to be probably the two most common ones that you're going to use. We'll cover some of these other ones, and some of them we'll leave off for more advanced lessons. So let's just start with an easy transfer. You have several options on how you want to do this. In this case, we're transferring 8281, job number 8281. You can transfer by bulk, so the average joints on there, or you can transfer by tally, or you can transfer the whole job should you need to. So let's just transfer some by bulk. Basically what I want to do is transfer some from 8281 to 8220, since I know they're both the same type of inventory. So let's click on transfer by bulk. And again, you have several options. You can transfer by joints and footage, transfer by only joints, or transfer by only footage. So let's do transfer by joints and footage. Here I can select exactly how many joints I want to transfer. So let's select 5, and let's say we know that it's going to be average of 31, about 155 feet. All right, and you can enter in a comment. All right, so you just click finish. All right. Yep, so that's how you transfer it. It's on here now. We can see this by the activity log. You can also receive and ship things from here. Let's change the status of inspection here. Let's go ahead and checkpoint this to on order. So if you have something on order, it's not in your inventory yet. It's basically saying that you've ordered it, but it's not arrived. So if you, instead of having to like open up the job and really drill down on it, you can simply search for all your on-order jobs that you've received and click on the Receive button. This is going to open up an inbound truck. And here you can enter in the shipping information. In this case, it's Archon Data. We're still the owners. And we're going to the Oklahoma yard. This is going to make it really easy to receive all your on-order inventory, since you're not having to necessarily open up the sales order. As long as you know how to find it or where it's supposed to be, where it's going, then you can find your on-order jobs, click the Receive button, and get them into your yard. So after that, you just hit Complete, and it's going to put them in the destination yard. In this case, it's going to go to the Oklahoma yard. All right. So let me just checkpoint that back to, let's do storage. You can also ship directly from here. Again, just select a job that you want to ship and ship it. Now, it's very important to note that there's a difference between transferring something or relocating something and shipping it. Shipping and receiving is important to keep track of on your in and out reports. It's essentially putting something on a truck and moving it around. Transferring is a little bit different, since you're going from job to job or creating new jobs out of a transfer, or just moving it to a different rack. If you're moving something from yard to yard, it's very important that you ship it properly. So let's ship some of this by bulk, and we're going to do it by joints. So we have 78 joints available. We're going to ship 10. That's going to be a 308.36 feet on average, since we're doing bulk. It's not exact. So then we can just click Finish, and again, it's going to open up a outbound truck this time. So since we're shipping it from a location, it's going to automatically populate your shipping from. Obviously, you can't really change this because this is where the inventory is currently located. So that's going to stay the same. And here we can ship it to a different yard. Let's ship it to, where is docks? And okay, so now we're shipping it to docks from our Oklahoma yard. And here you have the job. In this case, we selected job 8283. We shipped from job 8281. We're shipping it to a new location, so it's creating a new job. Here you can see job 8283. Those 10 joints that I pulled off of job 8281 now have their own job number. This is where the control number becomes really important. You can tie these jobs back to their parent job, and I'll show you how to do that here in a little bit. So let's just go ahead and complete that, and complete the jobs in Tallys now. So I'm going to refresh this. And you can see that job 8283 is no longer shown here in this screen because we shipped it off of this location. Let's go look at it in the docs. So here we have job 8283 in the docs. All right, so let's go back to the Oklahoma yard right quick. All right, so now we're filtering for everything in the Oklahoma yard. Now, by default, you're going to be searching for things that aren't completed. When a job is complete, you're essentially telling the system that it's no longer in inventory. So you can see the complete section right here, the complete tab. None of these are checked. If I go up here and click on the check to search for completed items, it's going to bring up a much larger search. It's going to bring up all the items that are there and that are no longer there that were completed in here. Here we go. So this is essentially a history of what's been in this yard since we're searching by location. And you can see all the statuses of it. A lot of these are going to be shipped. Since once they're shipped, they're no longer in inventory, it's going to complete it for you. As for the saving and printing, basically everything you could do in the job with saving and printing, you can do directly from the Pipe Explorer. So let's say you want to print the bill of lading for this job that we shipped out this last month, 8118. You can click the arrow next to the print button and click bill of lading. And it's going to think for a second, and here we go. Here you have the bill of lading. It has all the shipping information, all the cargo information, and everything. And you don't even have to open up the job. You can do that directly from the Pipe Explorer. You can also save save to Excel, send to Excel, and all that stuff here. So the same thing you can do in the inventory screen, you can do directly from the Pipe Explorer, which is really useful. Let's look at the refresh button. I'll just touch on that right quick. Anytime you make any changes or save something, just click the refresh. It makes sure that all the information that you're seeing is accurate and up to date. Otherwise, you might be seeing some old information. Again, you can transfer here. Let's search for the stuff that we have in the Oklahoma yard right now. All right, so we were working with job 8281. All right, so let's say I want to move job 8281 to a different rack. Right now it's in the Oklahoma yard on rack A2. The transfer button is basically how you want to do this. You can click on transfer and relocate. Relocate doesn't change any of the amounts in the inventory. Again, like the name suggests, it just changes the location. So it pre-populates the Oklahoma yard, and you can select a different rack, in this case A4, and to different rack. And if you're trying to move from yard to yard, it's probably better to do a ship instead of a transfer, just so you can keep track of it on your in-out reports. So we'll just click relocate, and there you go. You can see that it is now located on rack A4. You have some more advanced transfers, transfer to a different job. That one only works if you have the same part number, obviously. And you can also transfer to a different master part. Let's say it's not really 2 3/8 J55, but it was something else. Let's do one of those. There we go. It's only going to let you transfer to another 2 3/8 J55, right? You can't transfer tubing to drill pipe or drill pipe to casing. It's not going to let you do that. So you can just use the transfer to master part to transfer like inventory between master parts. Again, you want to be very careful with that one. Make sure you're transferring to the correct things.
So all you're going to do is right-click and view reconcile properties, right? And what it's going to do, it's going to open up this little button thingy right here. Okay, I'm going to drag this around so I can see number one what rack it is, and I'm going to drag it over and I'm going to show the joint count, the rack. So I'm managing rack A3, and I've got 16 joints on there, not 15. So I'm just going to hit the button, adjust and reconcile, and see it shows 15 joints on there. And I'm going to check this little box right here that says set this job's current balance. I'm going to adjust it, right? 16 joints is 511 feet. See, I clearly made a mistake. So I'm just going to say correct error on the adjustment, right? And hit finish reconcile. And so it's going to fix that. So it's 16 joints, 511 feet. Does that make sense? And I can set this little button right here. It shows that I adjusted it. And that one's reconciled. So I can go to my next one. So it's pretty easy to do. I'm just going to clear this all out. What this really comes in handy for is not only your own yard, but let's say you've got a third-party yard and you're managing that too. So whenever your third-party yard sends their audit reports, their inventory reports at the end of the month, you can go into your system and adjust them to actuals. Now let's say they're consistently off 5 or 10 joints every month. Well, that's kind of a red flag, and you need to kind of look into that and see what's happening. Based on what we just went through, he went over the tallies, what they do, where our system gets its information, right? The checkpoints, the racks and location, all that stuff, right? Specs, shipping and receiving, and whether it's bulk or tallied, how to get your tallies into the system, how to print tally reports, or just hit the send button and send them to the owner. So if you're managing somebody else's pipe and you just hit the send button, it's going to send that tally via email to the owner. So we showed you how to do all that stuff, how to import tallies. There's also great places on our support site where you can get more information about the disto, which costs like $350. You can buy them instead of rent them. works directly with our system. He also showed you how to use the Pipe Explorer, right, through the filters, how to use the transfer, how to ship from here. And then we showed you how to adjust and reconcile.